My name is Ellen Crowley. I graduated in 2009. I was the soccer captain for girls varsity soccer during my junior and my senior year. Um, Interestingly, I never played a game in either of those 2 years because I was injured. I think it obviously is a big responsibility, and having your teammates trust you to have that role and knowing that they want you to be that voice to the whole team. I think I just really enjoyed getting to know the younger kids. I sort of took that as my biggest role as trying to build the relationships between the younger kids and the older kids, making them feel like they had a sort of older sister or someone that they could go to if things weren't going well. Um, but yeah, I think overall just being in a leadership position, being trusted by my teammates and coaches, being able to be sort of the in-between person between the coaches and the players, I just enjoyed that a lot. So we actually, everyone hates how the girls soccer team sings Defying Gravity. It's accepted. I think that no one likes that, and we're really loud about it. That started during the summer before my junior year. We went to Europe on a soccer trip, and we played in England and Ireland. While we were in England, we went to see the play Wicked and heard the song, and we all sort of fell in love with it, and it became our team song throughout the rest of the trip. And that was actually how that whole tradition started. So it's actually been kind of fun telling the kids now that I coach. They know that it's part of the tradition, but a lot of them don't know why. So I've been able to sort of tell them about that experience and how it came to be probably our most important tradition as it's on the team. Devin was actually probably my biggest role model when I was a freshman, and then when I was practicing with the team in 8th grade. She really sort of took me under her wing. We played the same position, and I was, kind of frightened when it came to playing defense against the likes of Sarah Parsons and some other people that had some big personalities, and for me, they were pretty scary. And Devin was always there by my side to encourage me to be tough and to not feel like I need to do anything in my playing that would make them, like me or not like me. That in particular with Amy Joyce, because she was crazy when we played soccer. And Devin was right there just saying, knock her over, which wasn't hard, obviously, because she's tiny. But, she was definitely the person for me that I knew, even when I was just walking in the halls and she'd start screaming my name, and you're a freshman, you get all embarrassed, but it's also nice to have that older person really looking out for you. So she was someone that I sort of really tried to model my own leadership after. So obviously I was on the basketball team for 5 years. And so Alex became a huge mentor for me, both in terms of basketball. And I also had him in the class where we taught my HCC class. And he also was just someone for me after I got injured that really tried to do whatever he could to help me in my transition from a player in all the sports that I was playing to a student coach. And it was hard at times for me to make that transition, because you just sort of want to be out there and making the changes yourself. But instead, he was sort of teaching me how to communicate with the players about how to be better. I think other coaches that I looked up to a lot, Meg Hamilton, back then she was a lacrosse coach. And she sort of took me, and played 2 years of softball. And then I switched to lacrosse, and I got hurt right before lacrosse season. And she sort of took me on the team anyways, let me sort of learn the role of lacrosse goalie, and let me take over that position as the goalie coach. And, she just had a tremendous amount of trust in me, and I think that meant a lot to me when I was 17 and trying to figure out what I was doing with my life. I had always sort of had my sights set on playing college soccer, and then I got hurt and I didn't know what to do. So all my coaches, Ben Snyder coached the soccer team my senior year, Alex and Meg, they just really sort of stepped up and supported me, as both that I was struggling to find my new path, but they were also helping me sort of develop myself as a coach. So I definitely feel like I owe a lot to them coming back here now and being a coach, which is nice. Obviously it was a challenge not being on the field. And it's hard to, when it's a sport that you're so passionate about, to be on the sidelines and not be able to contribute. But I think for me, the biggest challenges were like how I communicated that with my teammates. I actually was probably better at communicating it with the younger kids than I was kids my own age, because I think I saw the younger kids as like they're trying their best, they need a break, just try to comfort them in some ways. And kids my own age, I would just get more frustrated. And I think looking back at it now, I wish I'd seen that and sort of been able to step back and know that they too needed to hear that like calming voice, because they hear it enough. I mean, I think as you guys know, like it's your coaches get on you enough, so you kind of want your teammate to be and your captain not to be that person, but to be someone that's going to encourage you and have your back no matter what. I think being a captain with girls sports can be a challenge. I can't speak from the boys side, but there were definitely things that came up that we had to address in-house about how girls were treating each other or what was going on in the schoolhouse or outside of school. And that's hard because it's something that has nothing to do with the game, but has a big impact on how your season is going. And I think the biggest thing for us was just sort of getting to that point where whatever issue it was, just like leaving it behind and knowing that, when we were together playing, whether it was on the field or on the court, that all that mattered was just like the 15 of us or the 20 of us, depending on what team it was, working together. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's like a real challenge. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a yeller. Although I wasn't afraid to be the person that gave our team a kick. I think sometimes they need to hear that. I think the biggest part of my leadership was, again, with the younger kids. And so for them, that was just sort of being someone that they didn't have to try to impress. It was team dinners. Like, I always drove the freshmen. It was just sort of what I did. And they all knew that, and they all would just come to my car, and that was it. And so I think in that sense, I was tried to use my maturity and my age to sort of welcome new kids. I think in terms of being like other attributes of the leader, I think I wasn't quiet. I knew that I had an important voice, which I think was important for them to hear. And I also think that like I had really good relationships with the coaches I was working with, which allowed me to sort of, there wasn't that huge separation between the players and the coaches, which I think is really important. I mean, I think the biggest thing with being a captain in high school is getting your teammates to trust you, and being someone that your teammates feel like really hears them and really has their back. Being a captain, it's hard because I think usually captains at this level a lot of the time tend to go to the best, strongest players. But as your role as a captain, it's so much more important that you take yourself out of it and try to, really, sometimes those big time players don't do as well as a captain because it's harder for them, I think, to not think about, like themselves.